Right.
Shabbat Shalom. Behold how good and how pleasant it is that we are together as one family. Even if we are still Zooming our services, we are one community.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 We continue now with Lechu Neranena on page 130. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Shenu, Nekadmat Fana Vetoda. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Shenu, Bismirat Naria Lo. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. 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 And we welcome the Sabbath bride. We welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi on pages 138 and 139. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmianu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haveracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh v'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi וצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We continue now with the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahad lik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
We continue now with Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בקלה בקלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם מעלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו אמן.
We continue now with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. We invite you, if you are able, to please rise physically or in spirit.
Lai, lai, lai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitfunam meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, v'meshmerotehem barakir kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. Elchai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uv'kumenu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. I invite us to take a deep breath in, exhaling out.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, כבוד שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. You may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mí chamocha ba'elim Adonai,
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue now the central portion of our worship with our tefillah, beginning on page 164 and following.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot, ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ava. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'ir'ah na'avod. Modim anachnu lach, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulached na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
We now take this opportunity to take a deep breath in, exhaling out as we pause in silent reflection.
Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Sally Amarendez, Chana Bat Miriam, Eliana Bat Chana, Ivan Aronson, Robert Berg, Mort Berlant, Arnold Berliner, Sarah Beinstock, Sandy Beinstock, Rich Burns, Esther Burton, Bob Cant, Nicole Chapman, Lori Evansky, Carolyn Franklin, Barbara Fiedman, Jason Fishoff, Holly Fugit, Betty Garcia, Mary Gold, Ted Guglin, Rosie Gurman, Courtney Hansen, Linda Harris, Dr. Gary Height, Barbara Jackowitz, Mimi Jones, Kevin Krieger, Evelyn Katz-McCosker, Liatzvia Batliba Ve'elchanan, Janice Lucero, Young Sung Lot, Carol Lerner, Shirley Lerner, Litia Leos, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Eva Misley, Brad Parkins, Carol Ross, Linda Rogers, Ben Rubin, Marilyn Rudy, Dolores Sams Hoy, Gary Sanders, Laura Sanders, Donna Shine, Sybil Summer, Roberta Stivelman, Donna Thyman, Pham Tai Trang, Gina Thrower, Teresa Walsh, Claire Cecil Watson, Rosanna Wershing, Jeannie Watson, Nancy Weisenfeld, Sue Witten, Sherman Wong, and everyone who is suffering from coronavirus. We now continue with a word of Torah.
We just finished our prayer for healing. What a very special and meaningful prayer, especially for those of us whose loved ones are sick or we are ill ourselves. We say Mishaberach for a few reasons. Yes, we want to pray for them to have a speedy recovery, but we also use the prayer in a communal setting to bring awareness to our community of those who are sick. It helps remind us that we need to have compassion for others, so we can check in with those individuals who are sick, and we can check in with their loved ones who have brought their name to our attention. It is our duty as Jews to visit with those who are sick. The ancient rabbis taught that anyone who visits the sick takes away 1/60th of their suffering. That mitzvah has been particularly challenging over the last year, of course. While there is no way to replace an in-person visit, there are other ways to check in: phone calls, video calls, texts, and connecting with their loved ones too. This week's Torah portion, it's a double, Tazria Mitzorah, is one of the more challenging Torah portions. It deals with sickness and impurity and the rituals involved with making oneself pure again. This is the Torah portion where a leper or a person afflicted with an infectious disease is required to leave the camp and remain outside and isolated until a priest determines it is safe for them to return. Talk about a Torah portion for this year, huh? Each of us, having experienced some level of isolation over the course of this past year, can identify with the leper, even if we haven't been infected with COVID, right? I might suggest that the Mishaberach prayer, although in Reform Judaism we didn't really recite it much at all until Debbie Friedman created our well-known version only about 30 years ago, is one of our most important prayers. The purpose of it is connection and compassion, that we should be aware of others in our community and have patience with them, that we should check in with each other. We are reminded not to get caught up in our busy lives and to remember what is most important, that is each other. We need each other just as our ecosystem functions based on how plants, animals, and other organisms all rely on each other. We, as a community, rely on every single individual to take part and to take care of one another. And that is what it is all about. Please enjoy this beautiful setting of Mishaberach, composed by Andrea Jill Higgins, as we have the opportunity to reflect on each other, on our community.
We continue with Olenu. Please rise if you're able, either physically or in spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we now come to the moment in our service when we think about members of our family and community who have died recently or in years past, I invite you upon hearing the name of your loved one to stand as a sign of your love and grief for that person, and to remain standing till all the names in our Yahrzeit list have been recited. On this Shabbat, we are mindful of those that are grieving the Shiva, the first week of mourning for Kit Snyder, beloved mother of Eric Snyder, Stephen Reese, longtime member of our congregation. We also think of those that are grieving the Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Roy Robert Creech, as well as those that are grieving the Shana, the first year of mourning for Gary Acknan, Tony Berliner, Idel Kagan, Dory Cohen, Bill Davenport, Rebecca Lindecker, Benny Schumann Donald, Vladimir Doktorovich, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Bernice Green, Bob Hirsch, Rita Kane, Selma Karcham, Janet Katz, Father Bill Leninger, Marianne Suni Levin, Michal Lubin, Manny Migdal, David Reiser, Cami Resnick, Edith Robinson, Steve Rosenthal, Lois Rosette, Boris Supak, B. Chandler Shaw, Greg Stiller, Joel Strauss, Gunther Vogler, Carol Wachtenheim, Henry Wild Sr. We also think of the following Yahrzeits we observe on this Shabbat, as we think of Milton Adler, Irvin Becker, Selma Benson, Bruce Kaminsky, Carol Cherkasky, Alvin Clark, Ruth Clark, Rosie Decker, Gail Doors, Rob Friedman, Varda Friedman, Harry M. Goldstein, Yetta Goldstein, Simone Goldstein, Edward Green, Siegfried Kahn, Jerry Crystal, Dr. Felix Lenneman, Hal Lesser, Elias Levin, Rose Levine, Halcyon Lieberman, Leo Lieberman, Abe Litoff, Rose Litoff, Maurice Malin, Linda Myers Martin, Paris Frank Masick, Rose Leifer Merrillman, Mickey Perez, Sharon Persich, Albert Pollack, Sam Ravel, Eulalia Rose, Ann Rotofsky, Helen Rubenstein, Charles Rubin, Jessica Savin, Heinrich Schachter, Betty Schwartz, Lillian F. Silver, Harry Stivelman, Yetta Stivelman, Stephanie Sucher, Harry Aaron Wagner, Ben Weiss, Jack Weiss, Joel Wolvang, Walter Wolfson, and all those who have died due to coronavirus. As we now think of those names mentioned, and those names who are dear to us and who we so miss right now, as we join together in the ancient words of our Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'amad divrach chirutei, ve'amlich malchutei, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה וזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ותעלה ותהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעולם עם כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Hava, hava nashira, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah. Hava, hava nashira, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah. Hava, hava nashira, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah.
And now it's time for our announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Larry Fox, and this is my wife Audrey. And on behalf of Temple Emanu-El's Board of Trustees, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our streaming Erev Shabbat service.
Tomorrow morning, you're welcome to Zoom in at 9 a.m. as our Shomrim 5th grade class will be leading Shabbat Minyan. Also tomorrow, we will have a Shabbat in Nature experience at Ed Levin Park at 11 a.m. Look for signs when you arrive. On Tuesday, the rabbi will hold his weekly chat at noon. And on Wednesday, the Zigzag Grown and Flown group will be meeting at 7 p.m. On Thursday at noon, don't miss the film group's discussion of the Oscar picks. Also on Thursday at 5 p.m., enjoy a Zigzag virtual tour of the Contemporary Jewish Museum. Next Friday, April 23rd, Kabbalat Shabbat services will be Zoom live at 6:30 p.m. Also next Shabbat, our Mechina 4th graders will be leading Shabbat morning minyan at 9 a.m. And that evening, we'll have a special Zoom Havdalah at 6 p.m., followed by Oscar discussion. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.